Hi, I'm Michele Smith, and I had the opportunity to play professional softball in Japan for 16 years. And there were a lot of interesting moments during my career over there. So I'll share a couple of them with you. So my teammates were all Japanese, except for my catcher. And the game was spoken in Japanese. So one of the first things I had to do was learn how to understand what my teammates were saying to me when I was on the field. For instance, first, second, third, and home was hitotsu, futatsu, mitsu, yotsu. So when I was first learning and they'd be yelling, mitsu, futatsu, yotsu, I'd be going like this, trying to figure out, okay, wait, which base is that? Yotsu. Oh, I got to throw home. So that was always interesting when they'd be yelling yotsu, and I'd go, oh, that's not second base, yotsu, it's home. So I'd throw the ball home. A couple of the other interesting moments during my career over there is that I'd have some young girls in the stands, they'd be yelling, they'd be like, Sumisui-san, yoroshiku, Sumisui-san, yoroshiku, and I'd be like, I'm like, Sumisui-san, I'm like, Sumisui-san. Wait, Smith-san, that's me, they're yelling at me, hi. So I had to wave back to them. Took me a while to figure that one out. So Michele Smith is actually Michele Sumisu. So once I could translate my name, I understood they were talking to me. A couple of other interesting moments on the field are calling inside pitches and outside pitches. I had to learn that my Japanese catchers, when they would be catching for me, would call for an in course and an out course. And I never could understand how something could be in close or out close. How can it be out and close at the same time? But I actually figured out it was actually out course. They were saying not close. So that was always an interesting moment. It took me about 15 years to figure that one out. But the one that took me the longest amount of time to figure out was when my Japanese coach would be yelling to my outfielders, "Wanba, wanba," and I would always be like, "Wanba, what is he saying to him?" I have no idea what he's saying to him. What is wanba? I'm like, is that a Japanese word or is that an English word? Well, I finally figured out what he was trying to tell him is that on a line drive hit to them, they should take it on one bounce. So instead of saying one bounce, they say wanba. So it took me 16 years to figure that one out. So eventually I did learn it before I left, so that was always a positive, but those are some of my cute little stories from playing in Japan for 16 years. All right, one of the biggest differences between the Japanese culture and the Western or American culture would be the way we practice, but also the amount of time that we practice. In Japan, we would spend a lot of time practicing on the field, so we'd practice a lot and play a little. We would practice about 5 to 6 hours every day, and then we'd play games on weekends. And that's kind of the opposite philosophy of what we find here in the US. In the US, we play a lot of games, and because we're playing so many games, we don't have as many opportunities to practice. So a little bit of a philosophy difference based on the cultures. One of the things I do recommend, however, is to make sure that you do get enough practice time on the field, because practice is where you get better. Practice is where you break down your weaknesses, you assess them, and then you work on them. It's really hard to work on your weaknesses in a game because you're so focused on playing the game itself that it's really hard to work on your game or work on your weaknesses. So I recommend going ahead and getting out on the practice field, making a difference, working on your weaknesses, and that's how you're going to become a better ball player.